Дана и Пендра, и они, знаешь, спросили в темпл. Потом, темпл даже не было еще. A few months later, они начали этот Oxford Street Paddington Temple, да? И тогда Baya Bavi, Korma joined up at that time, да? И я начал туда идти. Я сказал, мне было только 16 лет. Они были старше, им было уже 22, так что я как маленький мальчик был еще. Но мне это все нравилось. Я так слушал, и они chanting, все такое. И постепенно я начал все эти, когда все эти temples начали открывать, from Paddington to Glebe, to потом Drummoyne Temple, в Melbourne as well, Burnett Street, that's where I first shaved up, да?
You did shave up.
Да. Я много лет с ними жил как брамачари, да, много лет. Да. Я был на эти автобусы, Сабабрис, первый автобус. Да, это когда мы купили эту ферму в Муламба, $100 an acre. 1,000 acres, $100 an acre мы купили. Мы на автобусе ехали, Киртан. Эти deities, которые в Муламба Temple, Горнитай deities, да, это эти, которые они сделали, знаешь, как сказать, cast the Gornitai deities in the Melbourne Temple. И моя сестра, у нее был там золото такое, и они donated эти золото, и другие преданные тоже donated various jewelry. И это jewelry went into the Gornitai brass casting. И эти Gornitai, они тогда were specially made for the Sankirtan bus. И мы ехали на этот бас по всей Австралии, Perth, everywhere. And eventually Murwillumbah, и это где мы эту ферму купили. Anyway, it's a long story. No, maybe next week we'll continue. Or next month.
Why? It's all yours. The time is yours.
Yeah.
I am much more excited to hear your story than to hear mine.
Yes. I don't want to get started. I'll be here all day.
Как вы приехали в Австралию?
Не, я здесь родился. Я родился в Мельбурне.
А родители из...
Мама из Хабаровска, папа из Днепропетровска. Они через Германию после войны, и они приехали в 1947 or something на пароход. И я родился в 54, так что.
Вы тоже из Днепропетровска? Из Днепропетровска?
Не, папа. Окей. All right. Ну да.
И как хорошо вы еще говорите по-русски.
Да, нам было запрещено говорить дома по-английски, когда мы были маленькие.
Молодцы.
Мама всегда говорила, не говори этот собачий язык в этом доме.
We'll bleep it.
No, I mean, honestly, я слабо говорил, когда я был тинейджер, все такое, не было интерес, конечно. Но потом, когда мне было 30, и Хари Кришна, я там немножко attempted to translate some of Prabhupada's books into Russian, as I'll say, attempted. Didn't work out very well, but a few of the... там другой русский мальчик, Борис Леонов из Сиднея, он тоже постарался со мной. И мы communicated a bit with Harikesh Swami. Но потом... это где интерес мой в русский. I realized, что у меня целый фундамент языка. И тогда я начал так постепенно, знаешь, читать русские книги и все такое. И слали укрепил так немножко.
Может, вы могли бы рассказать
Я
немного
слабо
про
очень говорил
общение со
раньше.
Шрилой Прабхупадой? Немного расскажите про общение со Шрилой Прабхупадой.
Ну да. Первый раз я Prabhupada встретил was at the Wayside Chapel, когда он the first time arrived, да? You know the story of the Wayside Chapel?
No, I don't know this.
Не. Wayside Chapel это был такой Christian Outreach Center, да? И они помогали таких, знаешь, homeless people and drug addicts and so on. So it was, like anyway. Но Prabhupada came и это когда этот абориген, он меня, как это значит, Diksha Guru, да? The one who brings you...
Initiates.
No, Siksha. Which one?
Pradashika.
The one who not initiates, but
Introduces.
first,
Introduces.
introduces. What's that, Diksha?
Shiksha.
Siksha, yeah.
Vartma Pradashika is usually.
Yeah. Так этот абориген,
Vartma Pradashika, the one who shows you the path.
он был такой скромный абориген такой, он тоже был молодой, может быть, 18 лет, и он очень интересовался в Кришне. У меня есть фотограф, actually, of его и Deepak. Вы помните Deepak? Deepak was an American devotee. He came with the first group of devotees, Madhavisa Swami, all those people. И он был American Indian, да? Знаешь, American Indian. И он, как сказать, он очень... Где-то... Не, интересно, вот, точно.
Это вы с ним, да, вместе?
Не, это этот абориген.
В камеру показать? Вот в камеру.
И тут здесь picture of Deepak. Вот этот Deepak, American Indian boy, да? Он очень интересный был, он барабанил, как we used to go on Sankirtan. И он так барабанил, что вены popped from his head. Он был very passionate. No, very good picker. We used to go on the pick, and in those days on Sankirtan, we would go out chanting on the streets, and then sometimes 5-6 hours a day in Burke Street in Melbourne. Seriously, 5 or 6 hours just chanting all day. No, this was a Burnett Street Temple, 1972, 73, yeah.
Back in the day.
Да, about Prabhupada. Да, эти два, это абориген, и это другой, это Deepak, он тоже мне would preach to me, да. Bearing in mind, что я был очень молодой, 16 or something. И этот абориген invited me to the Wayside Chapel where Prabhupada was speaking for the first time, да.
It was in Melbourne.
Не, Sydney, King's Cross, да. The first time Prabhupada ever arrived in Australia, Sydney, King's Cross, Wayside Chapel. И там был один, the Reverend Ted Knopfs, он был, he was the the man in charge there, a humble man. He was very impressed with Prabhupada. He spoke to him, and I mean, я помню just little flashes. Да. Но я помню, Bhavi was there. Для меня это было все странно, знаешь. I mean, just the fact, что они были бритые. I mean, мы все были long hair. Hippies, настоящие.
That's how Harishari Prabhu refers to you in his diary. He says that Misha used to come to
Harisori's, I'm in Harisori's diary.
for the last 4 years, but he was still keeping his long hair.
Yeah, Harisori, I know Harisori from before he was Prabhupada Kripa.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, Prabhupada,
So
yeah,
you came to the place.
yeah, well, to the Wayside Chapel, and he gave a whole class. The only thing I remember, it's a stupid thing, but I remember the Prabhupada gave the whole class, and then he, you know, like after the kirtan and everything, because Bhavi was, you know, and there was kirtan, and then the whole class, and then after the class, Prabhupada sat back and he asked, "Is there any questions?" And there was just a complete silence. Nobody asked any questions. And even I, at 16 years old, I was a little bit embarrassed. I thought, wow, you know, isn't anyone, what's the matter? And then like after 2 or 3 minutes, some fool put his hand up and says, "What's that stuff on your forehead?" And that was it, practically the only question. And even I thought, oh my God. And I think that's when, after that, Prabhupada, after they left the Wayside Chapel, I think that was the time when Prabhupada said, "Simply meatheads." You know that story?
No.
Yeah, it's there. After that, because hardly anybody asked any questions, and they were just and Prabhupada sort of, maybe in the evening when he was talking to the devotees, it's on record. It's actually on record in one of the, and Korma speaks about it as well. And he said, Prabhupada said, "Simply meatheads." Anyway, that's...
I think it was Kurma who referred to you, not Harishawi. I think it was Kurma. Yeah, Kurma.
Kurma, yeah.
Kurma Prabhu, he referred to you in his book Transcendental Adventure.
Oh, yeah.
I think he mentioned you there.
Yeah.
I was listening to that lecture where you spoke and you asked Prabhupada that question, and I looked up the transcript, and you were referred to as Misha. So I know that this.
I have been initiated, but you know, I've left. And,
what was the initiated name?
I don't really want to bring it up,
Okay,
but yeah, I was initiated about 19. I could have been initiated by Prabhupada, but I was just too young, and I wasn't sort of, you know, all the other devotees were sort of a lot older, and you know, but eventually I got initiated about 1975, I think, 76, 75 maybe, yeah. But I stayed with the Hare Krishnas for a long time. I married a devotee lady about 1981. I got 3 children. One is Nataki, the second is Jayanti, and the third is Ramai. And Nataki's supposed to be coming here today, but she's always late. So she's about 35, yeah.
Does she speak Russian?
No, she doesn't, but she's always... They went to Gurukul. All my 3 kids went to Gurukul. Well, initially at New Nandagram, the other side of Geelong in Victoria. And yeah, they from very early age they went to Gurukul, and they were at Mawulambar as well for some time, yeah. But yeah. But anyway, life goes on, and eventually I drifted away in physically, but in spirit, I'm always with the. I just lived my whole life sort of as a brahmachari, and you know, it's you're trying to live two worlds at one, you know, and sometimes it doesn't work. Other times you think, wow, what a fortunate life I've had, because there's just so much that I can remember and see, and I mean, so many temples. Every time a new temple would start, whether it was Adelaide or even the very first temple in Brisbane, it wouldn't even be on the records, but it was in Mary Street. And there was a guy called Purushottam, and he was a surfer from Hawaii. He was connected with Tusta Krishna. I don't know if you heard of him, yeah? Yeah, Tusta Krishna, and there was Purushottam, yeah. And Purushottam kept his surfboard in his office at the first Brisbane temple. So, yeah, I was even there at that temple. Yeah, so whenever a temple would open up, and with this other Russian guy, this Boris Leonov, we were young, and whenever a temple would open up, we'd go there and we'd help, and we would help establish it. We would do all the, you know, whether carpentry or whatever, or helping with the feasts, or, you know, it just went on, and it was wonderful to see it all open up. And there were so many movements at that time, you know. There was Rajneesh, and there was this, and the Orange people, and those, and Guru Maharaji, and they were all around. And I'll tell you what, the Hare Krishnas in full strength, they're still here, and they've expanded, and all these temples and that, they're still there, you know, which is...
All the other groups just fizzled out.
Pretty much. You know, they may have a little bit here and there, but the Hare Krishnas have really...
Here to stay.
Well, it's amazing, you know. Yeah.
Boris Leonov, did he get initiated as well? By Srila Prabhupada?
No.
The reason I'm asking is that we've been trying to trace Prabhupada's Russian-born Prabhupada's disciples. We know of two of Srila Prabhupada's disciples
okay,
who
yeah.
were initiated by
Yeah.
Russian. One of them, of course, is Anatoly Pinyaev Ananta Shanti, the first Russian Hare Krishna who stayed behind the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, I've heard of
And
that.
there's
Yeah,
another one, Valmiki.
Valmiki, yeah.
But he was initiated in the West.
I vaguely remember something like that. Yeah.
He immigrated from, or stayed in the West, and he got initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada engaged him in translating some of his books. I think.
Okay.
He passed away. He died maybe 10 or no more than that, 15 years ago maybe. Actually more than 20 years ago he died, and then of course Shananta Shanti died about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find some Russian.
Yeah. No, this Boris, I think he's still around somewhere, but I haven't seen him. He lived in Sydney somewhere, Cabramatta or somewhere. I think he just goes to the Ruski Tserkov these days. But he's okay.
Can I ask you a question? I have that brilliant question. Yeah. Because when you had that exchange with Srila Prabhupada, and you asked him a question about what about some of your disciples who become initiated, twice initiated, then they fall down, come back, and they expect the same kind of treatment.
Oh, do you know why I asked that?
Yeah.
I had a specific reason for it. It was because, again, I was very young, and I was trying so hard to be a devotee and do the right thing and everything, you know. Because, you know, when you're younger, I mean, when you get older, you sort of, you understand the world a bit more. But when you're really young, you kind of, maybe a little bit fanatical in a way, but you just try so hard, you know. And bearing in mind, I'd seen devotees join up from day one, and then they join, and you know, they were older than me, and then they became very, like, you know, and they're all with their Brahmin threads and very puffed up and everything, and then they're ordering everyone around, and then they're ordering me around, you know, and I saw them join up, you know, and they're ordering me around. And I thought, and then the next thing would happen, they'd bloop, they'd disappear, you know. And I was kind of, because some of them, they were really good devotees, you know. I mean, even Madhavisa, I never had anything against him. He was great. You know, we practically worshipped Madhavisa because he was like the king of Kirtan. We used to go out with Madhavisa Swami all the time, you know. And sometimes, you know, we had kirtans in Melbourne that even back in the early 70s, there would be like 40, 50 devotees just hammering the Madangas. You know, our hands would be red raw, you know. And
you play the Mridanga too, right?
yeah.
You know how to play.
Yeah.
Still no.
Huh?
You still can play the
Oh
Mridanga.
yeah. Well, you can't forget to ride a bicycle.
Right.
But well, back to that question. Why I asked that question was, you know, a lot of these older brahmacharis or whatever, you know, they were Brahmins, and they were, after a while, naturally enough, they'd get burnt out. And, you know, some of them, not all, people like Korma never blooped, you know. There was Gopinathacharya, never blooped. You know Gopinathacharya,
Yes,
you've heard of him?
Passed
Yeah,
away.
he passed away.
Yeah. He was, mate, that guy was just, he was Mr. Transcendental. Not in a, he was just, he was just such a character. But anyway, but some would, and I just got concerned, you know, and I just asked Prabhupada, what did I ask? I forgot now.
Yeah, they expect the same kind of treatment when they come back. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing some humble service.
Yeah. Well, I kind of thought, well, you know, because as soon as they would,
This is not for you to decide.
as soon as they would bloop and then they'd go away, you know, 6 months later they'd come back without any humility, and all of a sudden they're pushing me around again. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe, you know, and but I understood as soon as Prabhupada said that. I understood that, you know, once you start into all this kind of stuff, you know, don't judge. This is how Prabhupada answered. I don't know if you got the
It's not for
thing.
you to decide.
No.
He said.
The very first word he said, he goes, after I finished asking the question, he actually startled me.
He didn't even let you finish your question.
Yeah.
He kind of let you know.
He startled me because I was asking the question, and he goes, you know, I'm just sort of, and then he goes, "Don't you judge," and I just, you know, I thought, oh, okay. And
The voice of Srila Prabhupada. Like,
yeah, well, you know,
That's how-
magnified. I mean, he was an old man, but he said very
Yeah.
stern, not
It sounds like
sternly,
Srila-
but very
sounds like Srila
authoritatively. You know,
Prabhupada.
don't you judge my disciples. And then he said it very quietly, my disciples. So he knew what was going on, you know. And just in those couple of words.
and then he said, "This is not your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
He has spiritual master. He will decide, not you."
How
And
can
then he
you,
gave an example
how
about.
can you remember all this stuff?
Well, because I quote
I
you.
forgot it all.
I quote your. That's one of my favorite passages. You know, whenever a devotee would criticize someone, I quote that. You know, this is how Prabhupada responded to
Yeah.
this kind of.
Well, you got to remember, I was like, you know, maybe
We can even pull out the recording of that.
17 or 18 or something. You know.
Sorry, how did you feel after that answer? Like, как вы-
No, it didn't. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't like, you know, I was like, oh, and crawled away or anything like that. It was. I kind of felt good about it, you know. That he you know, because afterwards I thought about it a long time, you know. Yeah.
He gave an example, Srila Prabhupada, of the police. If the police
Ah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
accost a criminal, supposed criminal, they cannot judge the criminal
Yeah.
by themselves.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then
yeah.
they would be criminals themselves, and they would bring him to the court and to the judge, and the judge will decide.
That's
if he's a
right. Yeah,
criminal or
yeah,
not.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But
But another reason why I asked that question was all turning around in my mind, because that was the time when President Nixon was, what do you call it?
exposed,
No, what's that word?
impeached.
Impeached, right? And I was kind of relating it to that, you know, like a Brahmin or something, and all of a sudden the Brahmin is impeached. It was all in my head, you know. That was kind of at that time, and that's how I was thinking, you know. And that's why I asked that question, you know.
My question, burning question, was about Tanya's question. When she asked,
Okay, yeah.
how did she feel when she heard that answer? Whenever I read that answer, actually I just refer to that conversation a few weeks ago. I was supposed to give a class at New Govardhan, and I quoted that exchange between Prabhupada and Tanya. And Prabhupada told her, why you didn't come early? Because you were not born yet. We were waiting for you to be born.
Well, you know.
How did she respond to that answer?
Well,
Because every time I read it, I become emotional.
I'm the littlest. I'm the little brother. Tanya's the oldest. Lydia, or Zaza, Lydia, she's in the middle. So I'm 68, so Tanya is about 74. But to this very day, I mean, she did attempt to join the devotees at the time, but she was struggling a bit. She was married and she wasn't happy, and she left her husband. She went to actually Mawulambar when it first opened. And it was just 100% austerity. There was nothing there, you know. It was like, and she made an attempt to live at Mawulambar for a few months, about 3 months or something, with her 2 young kids who were only about, 3 or 4 years old. And I think she lasted about 3 months and then she left. But she didn't have much to do with the Hare Krishnas after that. She had nothing against them, but it did set her up to, for the rest of her life, she was always had that leaning to inquiry and to, to sort of God consciousness in one form or another. Yeah, she's a bit of a character.
Well, it sounds to me
She was actually here only a month ago.
Oh.
She came up to visit me because I bought a house in November at Crow's Nest, and so she came up only a month ago. Yeah. She stayed for a week. Yeah.
But the way it sounded to me is if Srila Prabhupada offered her a free ride to the spiritual world, basically. That's how
Well,
it sounded.
Sometimes, Anyway.
Wow, thank you so much for this.
Well, thank you. I didn't expect this.
I didn't expect that either, but it's so prasadam now. Yes, because that's the best.
No, I think
Much better than I
you
was
follow the program.
hoping. It's all theory, but
We're okay.
here in Misha's words, we hear practice,
Yeah, but
we hear experience.
it sounds you and Misha in the same level, like you tune in, so you need to continue.
I can't be on the same level. Trying to take him dust of lotus feet of Misha. Well,
You don't want to look at some parts of my life, so.
I apologize for, but as you said, Prabhupada is for me to decide, not for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So even you cannot judge yourself. It's for him to decide.
Okay.
So there have been so many stories. So thank you so much. I'm kind of embarrassed to speak in front of you.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, Hare Krishna.
Just Hare Krishna. I should stay here and hear the harmonium, but the kids run back and forth.
This is really good spot.
Yeah, good spot, but the kids go back and forth.
Sorry.
It is a good spot. Maybe you should move the sofa against the wall and they'll go around. That's it. Okay.
Wow.
Any questions?
When going to start your
I have nothing to add. My speech, my talk.
I see, yeah. оставить на